is Grace Dolan, and my third grade class at Hennessy School is going to read to you today.
Hi, I'm Anna, and I'm going to read 9 for California by Sonia Levitin. 9 for California. Boston Day letter by stage. Come to California, my dears. I am lonely without you. In the letter was a big banknote with all the money Pa had in the world. He had worked in the gold fields for a whole year. What good is gold, Pa wrote, without my family? Mama sent a letter back, we're coming. Then she bought a big sack and started to pack. The neighbors said Mama was daft. It's 21 days to California. Who would take 5 young'uns so far? I would, said Mama. The sack grew fatter and fatter. What's in this sack, Mama? I asked. Everything we'll need, my dear. Mama said, what will we need? I asked. Wait and see, said Mama. Everyone came to wave goodbye. People brought letters for their dear ones. In far-off California, 9 of us crowded into the stagecoach. Mr. Hooper, the banker, wore a tall black hat. Cowboy Charlie brought his lariat. Plump Miss Kamala, the teacher, sniffed at a little perfume bottle hanging from a chain around her neck. Then there was Mama, Baby Betsy, Billy Joe, and me, Amanda. The grown-ups looked at us with wide eyes, their mouths drew in tight. 5 children in that crowded little stagecoach for 21 days. The stage driver stopped us, shouting, "Lady, put that sack on top of the other bags. It won't fit inside the stage." "Yes, it will," said Mama. "My girl Amanda will sit on the sack." And quick as a wink, Mama hoisted her sack on board, and I sat down on top of it. It felt all bumpy and lumpy, hard and soft. I was proud to be the one that Mama trusted. We all sat so close that our knees knocked together, 3 facing forward, 3 backward, and 3 in the middle. 6 horses pulled at the reins. Ready to run, the driver jumped onto the high seat. Beside him sat the shotgun rider with a gun on his shoulder. "Giddy-up!" cried the driver, with a creak and a rumble, a heave and a shake. We were off. Trees and houses spun away. Dust flew into my eyes. My teeth rattled as we bounced and bumped and shook. If you want to finish reading this book, go to your public library or go to your favorite bookstore. Thank you for having me read to you. Hi, my name is Barbie Forth, and I'm reading the book Love Bugs, a pop-up book by David A. Carter. Cupid bugs are everywhere, shooting arrows through the air. About one thing I have no doubt. The love bug will bite you if you don't watch out. Being in love means lots of hugs, especially for kissing bugs. I love you so much, I really can't eat. But maybe you're hungry, so sweets to the sweet. Because I love you, as I do, a dozen rosebuds just for you. Will you be my love bug? Thank you for watching me read.
name is Courtney McLaughlin, and I'm going to read Pigs. Megan's father asked her to feed the pigs on her way to school. He said, Megan, please feed the pigs, but don't open the gate. Pigs are smarter than you think. Don't open the gate. Right, said Megan. I will not open the gate. Not me, no sir. No, 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 no. So Megan went to the pig pen. She looked at the pigs. The pigs looked at Megan. Megan said, these are the dumbest looking animals I have ever seen. They standed there like lumps on a bump. They wouldn't do anything if I did open the gate. So Megan opened the gate just a little bit. The pigs stood there and looked at Megan. They didn't do anything. Megan said, these are the dumbest looking animals I have ever seen. They standed there like lumps on a bump. They wouldn't even go out the door if the house was on fire. So Megan opened the gate a little bit more. The pigs stood there and looked at Megan. They didn't do anything. When Megan yelled, hey you dumb pigs, the pigs jumped up and ran right over Megan. Whap, 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 whap. And out the gate. When Megan got up, she couldn't see the pigs anywhere. She said, oh, uh-oh, I'm in bad trouble. Maybe pigs are not so dumb after all. Then she went to tell her father the bad news. When she got to the house, Megan heard a noise coming from the kitchen. It went oink, oink, oink. That doesn't sound like my mother. That doesn't sound like my father. That sounds like pigs. She looked in the kitchen window. There was her father standing at the breakfast table. A pig was drinking his coffee, a pig was eating his newspaper, and a pig was peeing on his shoe. Megan yelled her father, you open the gate. Get these pigs out of here. Thank you for listening to me read. If you want to hear the rest of the book, go to your local library or go to your favorite bookstore. And the book is Pigs by Robert Munch.
Hi, my name is Kelly Pell, and I'll be reading Lily's Purple Plastic Purse. Lily loved school. She loved the pointy pencils, and she loved the squeaky chalk. And she loved the way her boots went clinkety-click down the long, shiny hallways. She loved the privacy of her very own desk. She loved the fish sticks and chocolate milk every Friday in the lunchroom. And most of all, she loved her teacher, Mr. Slinger. Mr. Slinger was as sharp as a tack. He wore artistic shirts and he wore glasses on a chain around his neck. And wore different colored tie for each day of the week. Wow, said Lily. That's just about all she could say. Wow. Instead of greeting students or good morning pupils, Mr. Slinger winked and said howdy. And he thought that desks in a row were old-fashioned and boring. Do you rodents think you can handle a symmetry circle? And he was always provide the most tasty snacks
things that were curly and crunchy and cheesy. I want to be a teacher when I grow up, said Lily. Me too, said her friends Chester and Wilson and Victor. At home, Lily pretended to be Mr. Slinger. I am the teacher, she told her baby brother Jules. Listen up, Lily even wanted her own set of deluxe picture encyclopedias. What's with Lily? Asked her mother. I thought she wanted to be a surgeon or an ambulance driver, said her father. It must be because the new teacher, Mr. Slinger, said her mother. Wow, said her father, just about all you could say, wow. Whenever the students had free time, they were permitted to go to the light bulb lab in back of the classroom. They expressed their ideas creatively through drawing and writing. She had a lot of ideas. They expressed their ideas creatively. Lily often. She had a lot of ideas. She drew pictures of Mr. Slinger and wrote stories about him too. During sharing time, Lily showed her creations to entry in the class. Wow, said Mr. Slinger. That's just about all he could say, wow. At the very last second, Mr. Slinger saved the cold, starving elderly. Thank you for listening to me read Lily's Purple Plastic Purse. It's by Kevin Hankes. You can get it at your local library or at any bookstore.
Hi, my name is Lisa Smith. My book is The Sticky Cheese Man. Once upon a time, there was a little old woman and a little old man who lived together in a little old house. They were lonely, so the little old lady decided to make a man out of sticky cheese. She gave him a piece of bacon for his mouth and 2 olives for his eyes and put him in the oven. When she opened the oven to see if it's done, the smell knocked her back. Pew! What's that smell? Terrible smell, she cried. The sticky cheese man hopped out of the oven and ran out the door, calling, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the sticky cheese man. The little old lady and the little old man decided, sniffed the air. I'm not really very hungry, said the little old man. I'm not really lonely, said the little old lady. So they didn't chase the sticky cheese man. The sticky cheese man ran and ran until he met a cow eating grass in the field. Wow, what's that awful smell? The cow. If you want to read the rest of the book, you can find it at your local library or your cool bookstore.
Thank you.
I will be reading No Moon, No Milk today. My name is Marina. When Rob came to milk his cow one early morning, he found that her udder was dry and her eyes were wet. Martha, are you crying? Are you sick? Rob asked. Yes, sick of being a cow. It's eat grass, get milked. Eat grass, get milked, Martha drew in a quivering breath. I want to do more than cow around in the pasture all my life. Where else would you like to cow around, Rob asked. As he looked into his empty bucket, the moon, Martha announced. You can only go on the moon if you're an astronaut, Rob said. Or a cosmonaut, Martha declared. I'm not sure they let cattle into the space program, said Rob. My great-great-grandmother jumped over the moon. If she can jump it, I can walk it. But I never promised you the moon, said Rob. Now do me a favor and let down some milk. Martha shook her head back and forth, flinging her tears through the air. No moon, no milk, she bellowed. Rob knew there was no way to take Martha to the moon, so he took her to Venice Beach in Southern California instead. Hang 10, Martha, Rob said. Did you know there's not a drop of water for surfing on the moon? Cows don't surf, said Martha. I know, no moon, no milk. No moon, no milk, Martha confirmed. If you would like to read the rest of this book, it's by Chris Babcock, and you may get it at your local library or your popular bookstore.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name's Stephanie, and I'm going to be reading Coco's Kitten by Dr. Francine Peterson. Photographs by Ronald H. Kahn. Coco signs cat. Coco's full name is Hanabaiko, which is Japanese for fireworks. Child, she was born on the 4th of July. Every year I have a party for Coco with cake, sparkling apple cider, and lots of presents. Coco knows the birthdays are when asked what she does on her birthday. Coco answers, eat, drink, get old. 3 days before Coco's party, I said, I'm going shopping today. What do you want for your birthday? Cereal there, good there, drink. Coco sighed, but what presents do you want? I asked cat, answered Coco. Later, she repeated, cat, cat, cat. I wasn't surprised that Coco asked for a cat. I have been reading to Coco for many years, and 2 of her favorite stories have been Puss in Boots and the 3 Little Kittens. Coco gets very involved in the stories. I read her when reading the story of the 3 little kittens who lost their mittens. Coco sees that their mother is angry and that the kittens are crying. Mad, Coco signs. Coco loves picture books. Gorilla books are her favorite. Cat books are next. She likes to go off on her own with a book to study the pictures and sign to herself. On her birthday, I gave Coco the unusually assortment of presents: apple juice, some special fruits and nuts, and a baby doll. I didn't want to give Coco a stuffed toy because I knew she'd eventually destroy it. The only durably toy cat I could find was in a mail order catalog, and I ordered it right away. It was made of cement and covered with vinyl and black velvet. I chose it because it looked real and it was sturdy, gorilla proof. The toy cat didn't arrive in time for Coco's birthday, so I decided to save it for Christmas. In December, I made a list for Coco. I drew about 20 pictures: fruits, vegetables, nuts, dolls, combs of presents. She and blankets. Every year, Coco gets a stocking and lots of presents. She loves Christmas. What do you want for Christmas? I asked as I showed Coco the pictures. Coco carefully studied the booklet. Then she pointed to a doll, nuts, and a cat. I bought Coco some nuts and a new doll. I wrapped the toy cat and put it with the rest of her presents. If you want to finish reading this book, you can go to the local library or at your favorite bookstore. Thank you for letting me read to you. Hi, my name is Sayla Ross, and I am going to read Fun with Zip and Zap by John Shufflebine. Chapter 1, Pet. I am Zip, and this is Zap. We are dogs. I am little and fast. Zap is fast, but he is big. I like Zap, and Zap likes me. We like Ben and Jen. Dad says, Ben, Jen, where are you? I want to look for dog beds. Do you want to go to the pet store? Ben says, can Zip and Zap go? They can help. We can see if they like the beds. They will not mess up the store. Dad says, okay, they can go. We go in the store. Jen says, where are the dog beds? We want a big bed for Zap and a little bed for Zip. I am little, but I do not want a little bed. I like big red beds. Zap looks at the balls in a pen. Let me tell you, Zap likes balls a lot. Ben says, Zap, stop! But Zap is a big, fast dog. What a mess. Chapter 2, The Gift. I am Zap. Zip and I are dogs. Zip is little and I am big. Dad went on a jet. The jet got in at 6. Mom went to get Dad. They are here. Dad has a box and 2 little bags. The box is for Mom. The little bags are for Ben and Jen. But where's my gift? Big dogs like gifts. Ben and Jen get little jets. Mom gets a little plant. Dad says the plant will grow. Dad says, Zap, come here. He pets me and pets me. This is my gift. I like it a lot. Milk and a kiss. Little dogs like to dig, so I like to dig too. I can't help it. Mom says she wants her plant in the backyard. She says the kids can help. Ben can dig and Jen can mix. I can mix and dig too. Ben and Jen dig. They plant the little plant. I go and dig it up. I like to dig. I can't help it. Mom tells Ben and Jen to stop me. She says the little plant will not grow if I dig it up. Ben says, Zip, you have to stop. Jen says, if you stop, I'll give you a kiss. I will give you lots of milk too. Milk? I will stop for milk. I like to dig, but I like milk too. I can't help it.
No, stop. No. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me read. If you like to finish this book, you can look for it in the local library by John Shufflebine or in your favorite bookstore. Thank
Jason.
My name is Jason. I'm going to read this book called The Secret Shortcut by Mark T. On Monday, Wendell and Floyd were late for school. They had newly been captured by space creatures. They told their teacher ridiculous ideas of germs, flat, and She warned them not to let it happen again. But Tuesday was no better. Pirates were loose in the neighborhood. It was sheer bad luck. Wendell and Floyd explained when they showed up late for school. Preposterous, said Mrs. Jones Black. And on Wednesday, even I don't know this word.
Keep going. Skipping.
Wendell and Floyd left early. A pack of frogs made them late once again. Absurd, cried their teacher. I'm warning you, be here on time tomorrow or else, and no more crazy excuses. There's got to be a way to get to school on time, said Wendell. We'll just have to leave earlier. Floyd arrived at Wendell's house so early the next day morning that the sun was barely up and Wendell was still in his pajamas. If you would like to read the rest of this book, you can find it at your local library or your favorite bookstore.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is John. I'm going to read The Amazing Grammar Book. This is a story of Ben who went out one dark night when he should have been in bed. He crept down the stairs and slipped out the back door. The naughty boy walked down the road and in the forest. First he met a rabbit. Ben wasn't nervous. Then he met a fox. Ben wasn't scared. Then he met an owl. Was a little frightened, but then he met a bear. He was completely terrified. He ran back to his house as fast as he can run. As fast as his feet could carry him, through the back door and up the stairs into his bed, and then fell fast asleep. Zzz, the end. I'm done.
Thank you. So thank you.
Thank you for listening to me read the amazing pop-up grammar book.
Hi, my name is Joseph, and I am going to read The Phantom Toll Booth. The Phantom Toll Booth is about a boy named Milo who gets a phantom toll booth and ends up going to a different world. He meets different creatures such as Talk, which is a dog with a clock, a creature that is like a bug named a humbug, and two kings. In the end, he ends up rescuing two princesses who finally bring peace to two kingdoms called Dictionopolis and Digitopolis. I'm going to read a chapter called Confusion in the Marketplace. Indeed it was, for as they approached, Milo could see crowds of people pushing and shouting their way among the stalls, buying and selling, trading and bargaining. Huge wooden-wheeled carts streamed into the market square from the orchards, and long caravans bound for the four corners of the kingdom made ready to leave. Sacks and boxes were piled high, waiting to be delivered to the ships that sailed the sea of knowledge, and off to one side of a group of minstrels sang songs to the delight of those either too young or too old to engage in trade. But above all the noise and tumult of the crowd could be heard the merchants' voices loudly advertising their products. Get your fresh picked F's, ands, and buts. Hey yeah, hey yeah, hey yeah. Nice striped wares and wins. Juicy tempting words for sale. So many words and so many people. They were from every place imaginable and some places even beyond that. And they were all busy sorting, choosing, and stuffing things into cases. As soon as one was filled, another was begun. There seemed to be no end to the bustle and activity. Milo and Tuck wandered up and down the aisles, looking at the wonderful assortment of words for sale. There were short ones and easy ones for everyday use, and long and very important ones for special occasions, and even some marvelously fancy ones packed in individual gift boxes for use in royal decrees and pronouncements. Step right up, fancy best quality words right here, announced one man in a booming voice. Step right up. What can I do for you, little boy? How about a nice bag full of pronouns? Or maybe you'd like our special assortment of names? Milo had never thought much about words before, but these looked so good he longed to have some. Look, Tuck, he cried, aren't they wonderful? They're fine if you have something to say, replied Tuck in a tired voice, for he was much more interested in finding a bone than in shopping for new words. Maybe if I buy some, I can learn how to use them, said Milo eagerly, as he began to pick through the words in the stall. Finally, he came close to choosing 3 words which looked particularly good to him. Quagmire, flabbergast, and upholstery. He had no idea what they meant, but they looked very grand and elegant. How much are these? He inquired, and when the man whispered the answer, he quickly put them back on the shelf and started to walk away. Why not take a few pounds of happies, advised the salesman. They're much more practical and very useful for happy birthday, happy new year, happy days, and happy-go-lucky. I'd like that very much, began Milo, or perhaps you'd be interested in a package of goods. Always handy for good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and goodbye, he suggested. Milo did want to buy something, but the only money he had was the coin he needed to get back through the toll booth, and Tuck, of course, had nothing but the time. No, thank you, said Milo. We're just looking. And they continued through the market. As they turned down the last aisle of stalls, Milo noticed a wagon that seemed different from the rest. On its side was a small, neatly lettered sign that said, "Do it yourself," and inside were 26 bins filled with all the letters of the alphabet from A to Z. These are for people who like to make their own words, the man in charge informed him. You can pick with all letters, punctuation marks, and a book of instructions. Here, taste an A. They're very good. Milo nibbled carefully at the letter and discovered that it was quite sweet and delicious, just the way you'd expect an A to taste. I knew you'd like it, laughed the letter man and popped 2 G's and an R into his mouth and letting the juice drip down his chin. A's are one of our most popular letters. All of them aren't that good, he confided in a low voice. Take the Z, for instance. Very dry and sawdusty. And the X, why, it tastes like a trunk full of stale air. That's why people hardly ever use them. But most of the others are quite tasty. Here, try some more. He gave Milo an I, which was icy and refreshing, and Tuck a crisp, crunchy C. Most people are too lazy to make their own words, he continued, but it's much more fun. Is it difficult? I'm not much good at making words, admitted Milo, spitting out the pits from a pea. Perhaps I can be of some assistance. ASSISTANCE was an unfamiliar voice, and when Milo looked up, he saw an enormous bee, at least twice his size, sitting on top of the wagon. I am the spelling bee, announced the spelling bee. Do not be alarmed. ALARMED. Tuck ducked under the wagon, and Milo, who was not overly fond of normal-sized bees, began to back away slowly. I can spell anything, ANYTHING, he boasted, testing his wings. Try me. Can you spell goodbye, suggested Milo as he continued to back away. The bee gently lifted himself into the air and circled lazily over Milo's head. Perhaps, PERHAPS, you are under the misapprehension, MISAPPREHENSION, that I am dangerous, he said, turning a smart loop to the left. Let me assure you, ASSURE, that my intentions are peaceful, PEACEFUL, and with that he settled back on top of the wagon and fanned himself with one wing. Now, he panted, think of the most difficult word you can and I'll spell it. Hurry up. And then he jumped up and down impatiently. He looks friendly enough, said Milo, not sure just how friendly a friendly bumblebee should be, and tried to think of a very difficult word. Spell vegetable, he suggested, for it was a very difficult one that always troubled him at school. That is a difficult one, said the bee, winking at the letterman. Let me see now. He frowned and wiped his brow and paced slowly back and forth on top of the wagon. How much time do I have? Just 10 seconds, cried Milo excitedly. Count them off, Tock. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, the bee repeated, continuing to pace nervously. Just as the time ran out, he spelled as fast as he could. B-E-G-T-L-B. T-A-B-L-B. Correct, shouted the letterman, and everyone cheered. Can you spell everything? Asked Milo admiringly. Just about, replied the bee with a hint of pride in his voice. You see, years ago I was just an ordinary bee, minding my own business, selling flowers all day, and occasionally picking up part-time work in people's bonnets. Then one day I realized that I'd never amount to anything without an education, and being naturally adept at spelling, I decided that balderdash, shouted a booming voice, and from around the wagon stepped a large bee-like insect dressed in a lavish coat, striped pants, a checked vest, spats, and a derby hat. Let me repeat, balderdash, he shouted again, swinging his cane and clicking his heels in midair. Come now, don't be ill-mannered. Isn't someone going to introduce me to this little boy? This, said the bee with complete disdain, is the humbug, a very dislikable fellow. Thank you for letting me read The Phantom Tollbooth. If you want to read the whole book, you can check it out in your local library or buy it at your nearest bookstore. It's by Norton Juster.
Hi, my name is Matthew, and I'm going to read Riding the Waves. Matt tried to push down the sick, panicky feeling in his stomach as the door to the daycare room opened. He was ready to run, but then with relief he saw that it was Columbine. Come on then, quick and quiet, or you'll get me fired. He put his hand in his pocket. His fingers closed around the tin of polish. He gripped it tight as he followed Columbine's swishing blue shirt through the swinging doors and past another nurse who grinned at him. He had only a quick impression of the vast expanse of brightly lit ward before Columbine thrust him through the drawn curtains as he found himself standing at the foot of Florrie's bed. He stood there for a moment, blinking and shocked. Florrie was propped up in a bed, leaning back against the pillows. Matt thought she looked dreadful. Her face was yellow and thin, white hair so that she used to spend so much time combing and patting it. Neat curls stood up in alarming tufts around her head. Was this really Florrie? Florrie who wouldn't leave the house with powdering her nose and applying a careful touch of pink lipstick. They stared at each other in silence. Columbine stuck her head through the curtains and hissed, "Quiet, remember? Keep it quiet. 5 minutes, then you gotta go, darling." Matt had been planning the things he would say. He had meant to tell Florrie about the interesting things that were going on in Seabourn. He planned to tell about Jennifer and the Grand Hotel and the plans for the period show. But somehow the sight of Florrie had wiped all those from his mind. She looked pitiful, but a small spike of anger broke through his pity. She'd no business lying there in a hospital bed looking like that. He needed her. "What are you doing?" He almost shouted it. "You are getting better. Why not?" "Quiet," Florrie hissed at him. "Get us all into trouble. You will." She heaved herself up higher on the bed. "Sorry." Matt jumped up and glanced nervously behind him. Then she whispered, "Sorry. But you aren't getting better. Are you? You don't even seem to be trying." Florrie didn't answer. She turned her head away from him and sighed. "I can't understand it. His voice slowly rose above and whispered, "You are the one who's always going on about never giving up. Look at you now, you've given up completely. That was rubbish. All that stuff you told me, all that what about you said, but they can't stop you getting back up there and trying again." Ford looked back at him angry now. "Well, and have you done it yet? Have you been riding the waves? Have you got up on that surfboard yet and stayed there?" Matt's mouth opened, but he didn't answer. "Well then, don't you go lecturing me, my lad." The curtain shook and Columbine's head appeared again. "Out," she said. "Get out. I'm not having that shouting going on." "I'm going," Matt said. Then he remembered the polish he had fished in his pocket and plunked it down on Florrie's bed beside her locker. "I had a lot to tell you," he said. "I had loads of news and gossip, but I'm not telling you now. You don't have to die, you know. You don't have to die just because you come in here. You got to diphtheria. You're the one who used to be a nurse. You should know. As a matter of fact, I came from this hospital. This is where they got me from. I didn't die." And he went to the curtains, swishing together behind him. Columbine followed him out. She shoved him through the swinging doors and watched as he ran down the long corridor. Even after he'd gone, she stayed there staring at the empty space for a moment. Then she nodded her head and smiled. Columbine didn't speak as she slowly opened the curtains, and that surrounded Florrie's bed. Florrie was lying down. She was very still, but her eyes were wide open, staring up at the hospital lights. She blinked a couple of times and looked at Columbine. Then she suddenly sat up in a bed and started pulling open the locker door in an agitated way. "What is it?" Columbine asked. "What's the matter? What do you want?" Florrie didn't answer. She pulled a small mirror and a comb out of her locker. Then she noticed the tin lavender polish, began fiddling with the catch at the side. The lid came off and then rolled under her bed. Columbine watched as Florrie held the small tin up to her nose and breathed in deeply. Florrie smiled, then she laughed. "All right," she said. "All right, my lad. You win." She pushed back her bedclothes and swinging her legs to the side. "What are you up to now?" asked Columbine. Florrie looked at her, surprised. "Haven't you got a polish cloth? And I could do with a nice clean duster." Columbine frowned. "I can't do much with this cheap formica top, but the rest of it is good wood. It'll come up lovely when I have a pink orchard, the one I like." "Well, my girl, are you going to stand there all day? Have you got a cloth?" Columbine grinned. "For you, my darling, anything." It was 2:00 in the afternoon. The beach was almost deserted. Just one old man walking his dog around the rock pools beneath the high cliff. Matt crossed the top prom. He was dressed in his wetsuit and looked down at the empty beach and the rough sea. "How dare she?" he whispered under his breath. "How dare she?" He set off running and slithering down the bank, losing hold of his surfboard so that he thumped through the grass ahead of him. He picked it up at the bottom, tucking it Under his arm, he charged across the bottom prom and down the cobbled slipway like a knight carrying his lance into his battle. He ran down to the beach toward the waves, stubbing his feet against the rocks and pebbles. The water was freezing cold, and the strong offshore wind blew against the waves so that they lashed themselves like whips toward the sand. Sharp spring sunlight cut through the clouds, and streaks dazzled his eyes. He stopped, gasping for breath as the sea washed around his ankles. He looked up and down the empty beach. "You could drown in the sea," he said out loud. "You could drown here, and nobody would save you or even see." Then he plopped forward into the waves, his face bright with anger and his body filled with power. He waded out, beating the white surf, then gripped the board, looking for a wave. It came rolling toward him. "Now," he yelled, "now!" He pushed off and paddled like mad. His stomach lurched with delight as he felt the wave lift his board. He closed his eyes and made himself think of his own backyard and the endless push-ups. He gritted his teeth and swung himself up smooth and fast into the kneeling position. Then straight up, the muscles in his legs clenching tight. The board wobbled and tipped. He countered it and balanced, crouching low at first, then pushing himself up, and he was up there, tipping and swinging, but staying there, high above the fury of the sea. And he shouted aloud, shouted to the cliffs and the seagulls and the empty beach. "Hey, Flory, I'm doing it. I'm doing it now. I'm riding the waves." If you would like to read the rest of this book, you can check it out at your local library or at your favorite bookstore.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Scott, and I'm gonna be reading Military Planes. Navy planes are built for use aboard aircraft carriers. Aircraft are fired into the air by steam-powered catapults. When an aircraft lands, its wheels slam onto the deck. The plane's arrestor hook catches one of several wires across the deck. The arrestor wire hauls the plane to a halt in a few yards. Both landing and takeoff require great skills, particularly when the carrier is pitching and rolling through the waves' rough weather. Here you see planes that may be flying in years to come. New materials will enable forward sweep wings to be made. These wings should make combat planes even more agile. A rounded shape is difficult for radar to spot, making it ideal for bombers which need to sneak it into enemy territory. If you want to read the rest of this book, you can check it out at your local library or look for it at your favorite bookstore. Thank you for listening to me read.
My name is Brittany, and I'm going to read A Lot of Hats. The hats. Tom and Mom and Dad sat. Mom said, "I can see a lot of hats. Can you see the hats?" Tom said, "I can. A hat is on the mat." Dad said, "I see hats. Can you see 3 hats?" Tom said, "I can see 2 hats. I can see a hat on the man, and the hat on top of the mat. Dad said I see the hat on the mat and the hat on the man. I can see a hat on the mop. Mom said I see 4 hats. I see hats on the mop, on the man, and on the mat, and I see a hat on Dad.
Thank you. Say thank you.
Thank you for letting me read. If you want to read the rest of this book, you can get it at the public library or your favorite bookstore.
We love reading!
What do you love?
Reading!
Where do you go to school?